need to
Able
make
to.
me a co-host, Vito?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we are streaming live. Welcome everyone to the April
Co-host, Vito?
Yes.
General meeting of the Brooklyn Tech. All right, we are streaming live. Welcome everyone to the. Wait a second.
Go ahead. Take two. You're all go.
Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to our take two of the intro to our April meeting here for the Brooklyn Tech PA. We have a special guest joining us later, our assistant principal for COSA's clubs, etc., Ms. Massey, who we all hear from on a daily basis. She does absolutely terrific work for us. But we'll start with waiving the approval of the March minutes. I would like a proposal and a second.
Second.
Great, thank you so much. Mia and I are just going to open remarks and we hope David is going to join us. He knew that he was supposed to be here on the front end of our meeting. We do have our big May 9th fundraiser coming up. We'll be hearing about that a little bit later. Our May meeting will be devoted to elections. They will be in person, held at the school, probably in the library. We will be seating next year's PA executive board. You can run as an individual or you can run as a ticket. There'll be more information coming. I believe it'll be all the positions except for the freshman reps, which will be seated in the fall, and the PA representative to the school leadership team. So that's the way I think it's going to go. Mia, do you have anything to add?
No, for now. Thank you.
Okay. So we have we're going to be having another budget Zoom among the eBoard staff members on May 2nd. So next week we'll be keeping you all posted. We'll probably mention that at the very beginning of our May meeting. If we have any sort of big picture initiatives we'll be taking on, we're gonna have a sort of larger holistic visionary sort of preview of next year's budget. And with that, I am going to pivot to Treasurer Goldstein, who is going to be sharing her screen and talking about the budget.
Yeah, before that, I would like to, I think we need to pass the meeting minutes for last month, right? So shall we waive a formal reading of it? I think it has been circulated, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought we just did that. Did we not do that?
I think we should start a meeting. Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. Sorry for that.
Thank goodness it's been done. We're not out of compliance. Thanks for double checking my work once again.
I think my mistakes is
No. You always catch my mistakes, so I appreciate it. Okay, Ellen.
Good evening, everybody. Let me see if I can share screen. Okay, hopefully everyone can see the March Treasurer's Report. Scream if you can't. Just a few highlights. First of all, on fundraising. Our fundraising budget for the whole year was $272,125. And our actual funds raised to date is $322,858. So huge congratulations to Patricia for her work on the annual appeal and to everyone who worked on Lunar New Year. And of course, just an enormous thanks to all of our parents who have been so incredibly generous. The Lunar New Year event did come in somewhat above budget on the expense side, but we netted almost $20,000 on the event, and it was wonderful. So just huge congrats on that. Just a note, this is a report is only through expenses through the end of March. So it doesn't include any revenue or expenses related to the spring gala. I'll have more to say about that next month, and obviously a lot more the month after that. The other thing I just wanted to highlight, merchandise sales. Generally, we don't try to make money on merchandise sales. It's just something we do for the community. But this year, we actually did. we budgeted $20,000 to buy the merchandise and expected to sell about $6,000 worth, but in the end, we sold over $26,000 in merchandise, mostly at the new student open house. So we're actually showing a positive return of about $7,000 on merchandise. So thank you very much. Wear your tech merchandise with pride and know that you are helping the PA. The only other major PA expense over the last month that I wanted to explain is the teacher wish list. You'll see code 2225, classroom enrichment school support. We spent a total of $25,895 fulfilling the items that the teachers said they needed for their classrooms. And huge shout out to Shani Bang, who did just an unbelievable amount of work pulling that together and sending me everything that needed to be paid for. And hopefully your kids will be starting to see that stuff coming into the classroom soon. And finally, any of you who were on previous meetings know that we voted and approved $25,000 for CIEE for international education for a cohort of our kids to study overseas. A new budget line was approved for $25,000 for that. The expense did not hit the budget in March, it hit the budget in April, so you don't see it as expended, but we did go ahead and pay that. So that is a done deal. So that's pretty much my report. I am totally happy to answer any questions that anyone has about the budget at this point, and I will stop sharing my screen. Let's see if I can get out of this. Sorry. Where's stop share? There we go. Were there any questions about the budget? Okay. Sorry. Where can you buy tech merch? That's actually not a question for me. I know we sold them at the open house for new students. Are there any other PA members who know where folks can buy? I think they sell it online on the website, but I don't want to say.
And you can get from the SGO store, but it's a different model.
Okay.
Perhaps we can sell it at the next meeting.
Yeah, and also
Just a
we probably
suggestion.
we can sell it on at the gala, spring gala. If
Yes.
people come, yeah.
Another incentive to come to the spring gala.
Yes, we have a spring gala on May 9th, so definitely come to buy the merch.
Merch.
Okay. If no other questions, I will hand back to our co-presidents, Mia and Hamilton.
Okay, can you mute that, Elle? Let me just check my. Now we'll hear from Kim Gillet about the direct appeal. Patricia couldn't be with us this evening. She's still recuperating from a broken leg, but I believe Kim was going to step in for her.
Can you hear me, Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay, great. And yes, I wish Patricia could be here because she's done a great job this year with the annual appeal, and we've still got a couple more months. And she just wants me to remind all of you about that. And many of you have been so generous. And you do know that our suggested donation is $600. But please understand, whatever you can give is absolutely fine. If it's $5, $10, we are so grateful for your contribution. And if we can get 40% of the school to participate in the annual appeal, then we're eligible to get a $20,000 bonus from a corporation. So please consider giving, whatever it is that you can give. And I'm going to actually put right now where you can donate. We just sent out an email. Patricia did recently, but here is the link in case anyone feels generous tonight. But again, thank you so much for those of you that have donated already. And for those of you who haven't, please consider giving what you can. Thank you.
Rachel has asked in the chat what percent we are at now. Any data on that?
I don't have those figures. That's something Patricia has, and she's not here tonight. And Camille, I see you're asking who's offering the match, and I don't have that information either.
I will say that this has come up at the monthly Zoom among the specialized high school PA co-presidents. Everyone's at about the same place in terms of their fundraising. If anything, we have a little bit of an edge, but we're all kind of hoping that we can get to that 40% mark. And we still have a little ways to go. But as Kim was saying, we are grateful for any contribution. I will say that our suggested contribution is lower than the other specialized high schools and Stuyvesant, I think, is going to 1,000 next year. But that doesn't matter. What matters is whatever you feel you would like to contribute. We welcome everything. And thanks again for your generosity. So any questions in the chat so far, other than I think Kim's covered that. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for stepping in for Patricia. Now we'll hear a little update, or maybe it won't be so little, from Tiffany with the spring gala set for May 9th. That committee has been in overdrive, if WhatsApp is any indication. So Tiffany, you ready?
Yes. The spring gala is on Tuesday, May 9th, 6:30 to 10:30. The tickets have been on sale. You also can go online and start bidding for auction items. We're still adding items to the list. The in-person, everybody can bid online. You don't have to attend, but if you do attend, we also have exclusive raffles, exclusive prizes that only in-person attendees will be eligible for in terms of the raffles. We also are doing the 50-50. The 50-50s for everybody. So please go online and bid and you can also donate if you want. There's also a link in terms of if you don't see something you like, but you just wanted to donate to for this fundraiser, that's an option as well. And you Tiffany, should go ahead.
We do have some big ticket items we're auctioning at the gala itself, right?
Yes. So we have the raffle and the auction. The only difference is that only the people in person will be eligible for the raffles, but everybody can participate in the auction. Everybody can participate in the 50-50.
Got it. Thank you.
And we also need the volunteers for the gala, right?
Yes. I'm not sure if the email went out yet, requesting.
Not yet, so we will send out tomorrow,
Okay.
because today
The
we send
email
out
will
the
go
link.
out tomorrow or Friday, one of the two, depending on how quick you get me the sign up sheet. But yeah, that'll go on that. Don't worry.
And yes, I believe in the chat, we did open it. There is a freshman parent chat that we shared the link with them as well, if they wanted to participate.
The incoming students.
Yes.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And also the volunteers should arrive by 4 o'clock that day, if they can.
Okay, we'll mention it in the email tomorrow.
You guys are going to get us a sign up link, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the spring gala, Tiffany, Leslie, are you guys good to go? Okay.
I think that's all.
Okay. Thank you so much. We've been making up a lot of ground very quickly, and we're really appreciative of all your efforts, and it should be a very fine time indeed. There's a cap, I believe, though, on tickets, right?
200 people. So once we reach our cap, then that will be it.
Okay, so buy them where they're hot. Rachel has asked how many tickets are sold. Do we have an estimate?
Tiffany might have that open. And Tiffany?
I got it.
Sorry.
I have the impression it's like 58 or 60, maybe now it's more.
Yes, about that many. So we still have less than 100. I know it was we opened the ticket sales late, so we're just asking people you can now purchase. I was trying to find the link. I'll put it in the chat where people, it's one link. You can browse it. You can buy tickets. You can buy 50-50s. You can do the auction. Everything is in one place.
Okay.
And even
I'm
if you're
sorry, I'm sorry, Liz. I just wanted to say, everybody, it is so easy. to do this. I went on, I bought my tickets, I did my 50-50, I started looking at the auction items. So please just go look at it. It's just so easy to navigate.
And I was just gonna say, if all else fails and you're not able to participate in the auction raffle, please still come out, purchase a ticket to support the gala. And it's gonna be fun times. It's a Fiji theme, so we have dancers that will be performing. So it'll be really fun. So even if you don't win or buy anything, still come out and have a good time with us.
Fanny has a question in the chat. If it's capped at 200, then maybe give current parents a chance to attend rather than incoming. For many of us, it's the first event the school has held. I guess that's true after Lunar New Year. So I don't have any particular position. You know, I know we have some room before we get to 200.
Manny, get out there and ask some parents that you know to come.
Yeah.
Get them to go
Right,
out and get a group of people and do it now, because we want to fill up. We want to fill all 200.
Yeah, so we opened it and to our parents, and then the incoming freshman parents, they got the link at least a week after we did. I think I just shared it with them last week. But we did have a little window, but you know, we have so many tickets still to sell, so everybody's welcome.
Great.
Hi, Tiffany. This is Sharon. I mentioned to you guys like yesterday, I met the parent volunteer in the college fair, and her friends would like to donate a pair of JetBlue tickets. So I shared.
I got in touch with her.
You got? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Great. So more to come on that. And thank you once again. One quick question I have. I don't see either Mr. Newman or Ms. Massey. Have either one of them joined?
I'm here.
Mr. Newman's here.
Oh, Mr. Newman's here.
They're both here. They're both
Oh,
here.
they're both here. Great. So should we start with David first? I had a question for him if he's available.
I'm here, Hamilton.
Great. So I know that our sophomores have just selected their majors or are placing their majors. And I know we had tweaked that process a little bit with some of the I believe it was the majors fair. I just wanted to get a sense of how you felt that all went.
I mean, as far as the outcomes, we were looking to get the most kids possible their first choice. We're getting there. You know, we did step back a little bit this year as a major that was not so anticipated to be popular. It was popular and well, more popular than it's been in the past, but we did get 95% of the students their first choice. If you went 1 and 2, there's 99% there. In full disclosure, robotics was the one I was alluding to that really wanted to add a couple of sections that we couldn't accommodate both based on current facility issues. But I mean, in the long run, it should be fine because we're full steam ahead on building a second robotics lab to accommodate. So we'll see. Hopefully it stays popular, or I don't know what I'll do with that lab. So, yeah.
Robotics is hot. If
It is, it's very hot.
Science and Stuyvesant PA's presidents have anything to say, because they don't even have the option of the majors, so they're scrambling constantly for funding to send their teams to tournaments, etc. So, any questions for Mr. Newman before we get to our featured speaker? Anything in the chat? I do want to mention, while David's with us, that this Saturday, Stuyvesant High School is hosting its first BIPOC Summit for BIPOC students at the specialized high schools. I do believe it's limited to the big 3, Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech, and Bronx Science. I know Tiffany's going to be attending. We wish everyone who goes great wishes and would love to hear back. I've already encouraged them to expand it to all the specialized high schools for next year. We'll see how that goes, but that should be a really, really interesting and hopefully very productive day in discussion for our students. Anything else?
I little mentioned the NYC Education Council elections.
Yes.
Voting is open through May 9, so we encourage parents to vote for it. Yeah.
Yes. We are not allowed to endorse a particular candidate or slate of candidates, but we encourage everyone to participate in the process, whether you're running as a candidate or you're voting. So, Jillian, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just put a question in the chat. I just wanted to ask about the PSAL sports teams and the actually about the field. I'm a parent of one of our amazing ultimate team players. They're state champions and are undefeated this year in the New York City League, which has a lot of great teams in it, including Zion, Latin, and all kinds of other of our peer schools, and they're always scrambling for fields. And it'd be so great if the school could support them and like give them some access to the field. Even just one game this season would be a really great institutional kind of show of support for this club team. And I know we've been asking around about how to get access to that field, and it seems like either people don't know, or it's complicated, or it's just for PSAL sports. So I just wanted to ask about that. Thank you.
I mean, it's not as complicated as I don't know. Well, it's not that complicated. And so the problems, the complications are, as you mentioned, we have so many PSAL teams that obviously they're going to take priority in the field, right? And so from practices to which are mandated to games and home games, there's really not a lot of time left in between that. If we could sort it out, I surely have no problem with that. But it's not. There's no steadfast rule that it's only for PSAL teams. It's just our PSAL teams. We have more teams than anybody else in the city consume basically the entire calendar. So for times that you want to be on there, we don't have lights, so where it's sunny out and you could see, we're kind of booked up. And so that's just the way it is. If we had lights, it would be a different story.
Is there someone in particular I could talk to just see if there's a weekend slot or some there might be some little window of sunshine?
You could even send it to the amazing Miss Massey, who you're going to hear from in a little bit, or me, or I mean, we have a calendar meeting monthly where we go over all things in the calendar, and we could see there. Surely the athletic director also keeps the calendar of the field to see if there's anything in between. I mean, you could probably play it on the other side and say, like, what is available, right? And so then and then he could tell you, hey, if you could slip in between 4:45 and 6 a.m. on a Sunday, that's the spot I got for you. You're in. So we can handle it in that regard as well. So if you want, I mean, ultimately it's going to go to our athletic director, Mr. Rubin, and me to have a conversation about. But it doesn't, if you want to put me, him, Miss Massey on an email and we could see what's available. It's just, as I said, we just have so many teams, and we're really scrapping for daylight time that we can utilize the field. When you think about all the daylight hours that are not school hours, there aren't so many of them,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, great. One quick question from the chat, David, is questions about summer school courses and requirements. Do we have a plan in place for that?
We don't know still officially the status of our building. I'm thinking that it's probable that unfortunately we're going to be closed for the summer like we were last year. This was mostly due to the boiler project that's on the street. The boiler project is not completed, so I think they're going to try to hit us again. This causes massive disruption to the school. It's not just not having summer school there. To be honest with you, it's everything we do to ramp up for the fall it's a little difficult to do all that with getting in the door like just a few days before the kids. So there's that. But that is not our call. If it's shut down, it's shut down by SCA, who sort of has sort of eminent domain. If they have a project that they think is an emergency and needs to be done over the summer, they sort of take command. Especially if it's a project that has a lot of asbestos abatement, which unfortunately is with every project we have. Anyway, if so, summer school is likely to be again at Westinghouse where it was last year, very accommodating towards us, great relationship we have with the school and the leadership of the school. I mean, mandatory as far as students who fail courses, we'd like them to make it up, this current summer, but there's all sorts of other considerations to think about. I mean, for example, if you failed one course and you feel like, you have something going on in the summer, I'm not saying, like vacation sort of stuff, but you have something else going on that's important and you feel like you want to retake the course in the fall, we could accommodate that. The various circumstances, you want to push it up to the following summer based on what year you're in. But we do sort of lean heavily on students who failed courses to make them up over the summer as to not, it depends on what the course is, but to not fall back further. It might not be as easy as I could retake it in the fall, because in the fall you might be taking the next course in the sequence and you need to make up that course now. So it all depends on what course we're talking about, what year you are, and where you are in that. We're not doing acceleration classes. We haven't done that. There will be a discovery program, as you know, but it won't impact, I imagine, any of the parents here unless you have another child that is coming to us next year. But that will work in tandem. Last year, we had the discovery program and our summer school program in different sites. I haven't made a decision on if that's going to continue. What else? And we're not doing accelerated pre-cal anymore, because now we've figured out a way to do that immersed in the ninth grade experience if you're not accelerated and you need Algebra 1. So we've already cycled that in a couple of years now, and so we should be smooth sailing and not need to run pre-calculus.
Okay, two more quick questions from the chat. This one from Camille: do we need to do summer school at Brooklyn Tech? She's just trying to understand what the issue is.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's less of a, I don't want to be like, oh, I like to be in my own house sort of thing, and it's a little bit of that. It's not that we need it per se. Look, we could offer class, our teachers go to the other school. To be honest, we merge the classes, so there would be students from Westinghouse and students from Brooklyn Tech in the same classes. But that's fair game, to be honest with you, is to explain a little bit of difference. In the past, it used to be Brooklyn Tech ran their own summer school, and it was in, at Brooklyn Tech, and it was just our students, right? And so we've at times allowed other schools to blend with us. Sometimes we blend with STI, and we had years we went back and forth between us and STI, and it would be us and STI students. But those sort of situations are no more. Now, summer school is run centrally, and so there's no more just Brooklyn Tech summer school. They decide what site opens up and what schools go there. So if it's Westinghouse, it could be 5 schools there, and we're all blended together, and we offer classes together. And so that's how summer school has now worked last year and will work again this year, and seemingly for the future to come. It's obviously more efficient, more effective, and they determine what sites are open, not principals, right? That being said, I would imagine they wouldn't want it up on our site because we have a lot of rooms and you could fit a lot of students in here, and from various schools. And now that we have air conditioning, in most of our classrooms, that works as well. But they're not going to open up a site if they have major renovation sort of things going on. So it's not a return to the past that you run your own summer school. And so that is a thing of the past. So, going over to Westinghouse, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It works out, facilitating all the classes we need and whatnot. It's just more so in between running summer school, I'm in the building. We get to get a lot of work done to prepare for the fall and getting computers ready and all sorts of stuff that doesn't happen in a as meaningful way if we're not allowed in the building, and if they're doing asbestos abatement, it's not like I could say, hey, to the other principal at the other school, like I'm going to go back to tech and work over there and get stuff ready for the fall while you babysit summer school. Like we swap out, it doesn't work like that. If you're abating asbestos, I can't come to the building, so yeah. So that's I don't know, that's a long-winded answer. I don't even know if that gave you the answer, but it's that's the deal. Look, the boiler project is very important. I get that. And a lot of that work can't happen when kids are in the building. So you can work all day on that and get that done and get that boiler off the street. And that is important. So I'm not saying one's more important than the other.
Okay, one quick question from Sarojini Raghupathy. Mr. O'Shea is no longer in the class. My son is going to graduate this year. What is going to happen? He contacted the AP. She made a note, but no answer yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about, teachers on leave and whatnot and why they're on leaves. I guess that's not even the question. But you are talking about a teacher that's on a leave, and we're looking to get a suitable permanent teacher in there ASAP. We do have a plan that's about 2 weeks out from now, and that doesn't sound great, but when people leave all of a sudden unexpectedly in the middle of the year, it's great history teachers who don't have a job in the middle of April or the end of March are not like falling off the out of the sky. And so yeah, so we do, I think we have a solution, a great teacher who is a student teacher and can come on board with us when the student teaching ends in a couple of weeks. So for until then, we do have a substitute teacher that does have a former like retired substitute teacher that does have was a history teacher that we're going to push in there to get us through those couple of weeks. That is the plan. I know it's not a great one, but that's you get a lot of curveballs, and I'm not going to say we get curveballs every year. I just don't know where the curveball is going to come from, and so this is one of them.
Okay, really, that sounds reasonable. We really appreciate that answer. Any more questions before we go to Ms. Massey? Any more questions for Mr. Newman? Okay, thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you soon.
Have a great evening, everyone.
I'm sorry, Nellie Conger, you had something?
Oh. I don't know if she's talking to us.
Okay.
Oh.
So, Ms. Conger, were you speaking to us because we couldn't hear you? All right. There you go.
Okay. No.
All right. Thanks again, Mr. Newman.
Right.
We will. I'll see you tomorrow at SLT.
Looking forward to it. Always. A pleasure, Hamilton.
Always.
Thank you very much for having
Thanks
me tonight.
again. All right.
Be well.
And now we will go to our featured speaker of the evening, our best friend, Ms. Massey, our co-best friend, along with Mary Yoon, Ms. Massey, who is going to tell us a little bit about COSA and about what she does, and take it away.
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, parents. It's so nice to see you. I apologize in advance. I've been really struggling with my allergies more than I'm sure everybody is, but beyond. So I'm sorry, I sound terrible. So I'm very sorry about that factor. And I just wanted to say that in advance, but it's very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, I'm one of the COSAs. Before I was a COSA, I was an English teacher for many years and doing 9th grade and 12th grade. And then slowly but surely, he's moved me into like just all COSA life. So I'm not really in the English department as much anymore, although I teach the student government classes. So my role, and thank you for putting AP, that was very nice, although I'm not an AP, at least not now. But I oversee the COSA department, which is very small right now. And I'm working with Mr. Newman closely on things. He's my boss and he's my supervisor, which is kind of a interesting thing, I guess. But it's Mr. Velasquez. He's in the COSA department. He has currently the 9th grade and the 11th grade classes. And I am overseeing the 10th and the 12th grade, the seniors, which I've had all 4 years, right now. So, but my role has changed, since this, especially this year, a lot. I've become the go-to person in the building. I just learned how to do the daily announcements last year by myself. So things like that. And, teachers are emailing and, I'm like a correspondent in the building. And the most important thing is to try to do the best for the students of what they need. So, there's a lot of factors within COSA, there's the fun stuff like the events that your children are planning through the student government a lot of times, or through like the National Honor Society. They're doing events ongoingly. Some you see in the announcements, some happen at lunch sometimes, like they're doing things in the cafeteria. So that falls into the COSA. We're doing things ongoingly in that world, in that sense. But then we also deal with the classes. We do leadership classes and try to work on, good leadership and listening and being a better citizen and that kind of stuff. So I know you may have, I'm sorry, I didn't really prep everything. I will answer any questions. Mary did tell me that a lot. So the club credits, I guess people have questions about club credits. So let me address that, I guess. So in COSA, there's a branch of the student government called CTC, the Club Teen Council, which Miss O'Neill, who's now retired, used to work with the Club Teen Council and deal with the clubs. And then the advisors would send the club credits to the COSA department and Miss Yvette would enter them on a spreadsheet. But that was changed under Miss Nottingham when she had the system on Scheduler, which we all most of us had, at least the students too, had access to look into Scheduler under the anecdotes to see what their club credits were. But now that Scheduler is no longer, there's been a problem. And I've been talking about the club credits with Mr. Newman for like a year now. Well, it seems like a year, almost a year. So what's happening with the clubs is that the teachers will be told this year they will send in the club credits as they have done before to Miss Yvette, and there will be a record of the club credits. But going forward, I talked to Mr. Newman. Mr. Kalin and I went on the state conference with the students in Niagara Falls recently, and there is a programming for this exact thing, which is exciting. And it's not, it does cost a little bit of money. I actually put it in as a alumni grant this year. It's like $2,000, but it runs everything. It runs all the, anybody, parents, students, the teachers, put in the club credits, everybody can see it, who has access to that child's, what am I trying to say? Platform, their email and stuff. And it's fabulous. Like they can do selling tickets, they can do flyers, they can do anything with this programming that we learned at the conference. So I talked to Mr. Newman about using this at our school, because what happens is Miss Yvette gets overwhelmed by the amount of, backlog of credits coming in. And then when the kids are like, well, how many credits do we have? It's not entered or it's like delayed. This system would ensure, in my opinion, that the advisor would put in the credits themselves, like enter term. Here's my roster, here's my attendance, and they put in the club credits. And then people like guidance can see it, the parents can see it, COSAs can see it, and the students can see the club credits. So that's how we're going to do the club credits going forward. I know it's not the best answer right now. The seniors have been given a pass on their club credits now, which I put in my little letters if you're a senior parent, only because of this situation. They've, the seniors have credits accrued, but because there's no way to track it really at the end of the year now, they're given a pass that whatever they had already is okay on because of this situation. But going forward, this new system that I'm going to implement hopefully starting, I'm in chaos with the graduation stuff. So going forward for the spring the goal is to have this programming up for that club credits. But I will say, just in a general note, I know the kids come a lot of times to check. It is the faculty advisor's responsibility to put in the club credits. And so when the kids ask and they say, where's my club credit? Usually the question is, did your advisor send the club credit to, in this case, the coast office? So, that's kind of the process. But I think this 5-star program will eliminate that because the advisor could just enter it and we can all see it. I hope that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Do we have any questions about this process or these processes for Ms.
I
I have a
Wilson?
quick question. Is the same issue, the same thing apply for community service credits, the same?
Well, so
System.
what's happening with the community service, Miss Chang, who is a superstar, I have access. So kids have been coming, they can come to me. I have access. Miss Chang has been uploading. It was because of the programming, the CTLE programming. This is how this started last year with Wandy taking the community service, but she enters everything and she started to upload from Scheduler, whatever the kids had on there, she's doing that too. So mostly, like she just texted me today to say she updated it. Like it does take her about a couple of weeks to update it because it's so much data, but mostly the kids now are there and kids have been checking. Kids can check through me. Mr. Ventura also has the link from guidance. He was given the link anyway, in case they go to guidance to check for community service. So going forward, I mean, this 5-star program, I think can do that, but I would have to talk to, all the players if we're going to use that for that too, which, it would help probably Ms. Chang not to, continue doing it, ongoingly. But she's very efficient. I mean, everything is on a spreadsheet. Like everyone in the building is on a spreadsheet right now that she's working on for the community service hours.
Did that answer?
Oh, sorry, Hamilton.
Oh, Mary, did that answer the question? Okay. We do have a question from Valeria Rodriguez about how we can verify the volunteer services credits.
It's easiest for your student to come to me in the COSA office and I can check it. It takes 2 minutes. I just have to get it up the file and get their class, what class they're in. They give me their name or their OSIS and I check it. So they can come to 7C1, which is in the cafeteria. That's where our office is. And they can come there freely anytime for anything they need, including to check their service hours.
Okay, question from Eva's B to everyone. How far before graduation are kids supposed to submit their community service credit? There's also a way to talk about any graduation highlights, Ms. Massey, if you're in.
Okay, well, sure. I can talk a lot about the graduation or like senior stuff that's happening. That's my world that's happening right now. Okay, so what I would say is that the seniors do take priority a little bit. Like everyone knows they're seniors and they need the service. So they are checked first before, let's say, the freshmen, because of the sequence, right? I would say that, they have up until April, May, when people are starting to check things, for graduation and what they have, like, the sooner the better, of course, maybe the first term of the senior year is best to get that in, I would say, before the second term, but they do have until like probably February or March to get it in, really. The service credit.
Okay. Another question from Camille. Would anyone know if Brooklyn Tech was chosen as part of the Pearson College and Career Readiness Pilot for 10th graders? I do not know.
I do not know that answer, but I could find out from someone. I can check with the college office of Ms. Cuesta. They would know, but I can investigate it for you.
Great, thank you so much. From Rebecca Dazka, if they do community service in the summer, what is the process of submitting those hours?
It's the same. The link would be the same, so they can either submit it over the summer. There's less announcements over the summer, obviously, but the link is the same. Like if you use an old link, they could submit it there. I mean, Ms. Chang may not look at it until we come back, She doesn't work over the summer, the whole summer. So it might be best then, if you're worried, to, hold on to it until close to September or in September and upload it on the link. Unless it changes with this new programming. And if that's the case, then everyone would be aware of that. But in the current process, that's what I would do. I would submit it at the end of the summer, beginning of fall. We try to tell the children, the students, your children, save like any letters they get. And a lot is in email now. I would save everything, because what happens is they submit it to the coastal office. Their counselors might ask for it for college later. Like 3 years later, they might say, do you have these letters that you have, like we should send them to college? And then they may not have them. Now, Ms. Chang will have them in her system, but in the old system, we didn't really keep the letters. So I try to advise the students to save everything documented, stick it in a sock drawer, like all this stuff you're doing for school. And if they need it for college, the guidance counselors ask for it, you have it in like a little file somewhere in your bedroom or something.
Okay, great. Lisa Marsh speaks for me and many other senior parents. She has a bunch of questions, but
Yes,
we can bundle those in.
Nancy. We met at the boat races. I'm that.
Oh, there we go. Yes, hello.
What I was okay, go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, God, it's okay.
That's okay. I mean, I don't have a list, but I have a couple of issues that I'm very interested in.
Okay.
As the member of the PA, not a parent at this moment.
Yes.
I'm very concerned about the price of the prom, and if kids who have free lunch waivers, if they're having a hard time making the prices. I mean, you would know this. I was on a soccer field last weekend, and there were two Brooklyn Tech parents who don't come to PA meetings regularly, but they were saying to me, like, Lisa, the PA has so much money. Why are we not defraying the cost of kids? Like if kids get free lunch waivers, why are we not just giving them some money towards their prom tickets? Because the prom tickets are expensive.
I mean, I agree. I mean, all this stuff is expensive. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part of the job you guys know, because you deal with money too for things like, it's very difficult. And, they are the children, the students, I keep saying children, they're not really children as we know, but the young people, your babies, it's very difficult. Especially the class of 2023 that I work closely with, they're very money conscious. Like
right.
They don't want to spend a dime on anything. And it's good and bad because we're very conscious of the money. And it's very, like the prom, for example, is actually just $5 over what Miss O'Neill charged last year. Right. And it's because I'm trying with the kids in the government, the executive council, seniors, to really do the best we can to not like charge what we don't need to charge, right? And it's like it's the venue, it's the food, it's the DJ we're paying for,
right?
The taxes, the tips for everybody, little like decorations, like all these things that come into factor with the prom, or any of the events.
Listen, I'm not complaining about the price at all. I mean,
so
we know it's expensive. I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can help. Is what I
wish we knew me was still here, because I don't know what that process is. Usually when God rest her soul, Miss Cabrera used to be able to do things like this. She would they would put money aside for like what you're saying, like kids who need it. And that certainly, things that would cut costs would be like something like the DJ, right? Where the kids are paying for that. Everything's divided between the group.
Right. So just like from an institutional point of view, do you have the ability to look at a list of kids who get free lunch vouchers or who are eligible for, free lunch, whatever? I mean, I know we use free lunch as like a weird, is our main term, but like, do you have the ability to look at a list of kids like that qualify for that, and then see who's coming to the prom and who's not, so that, there's an opportunity to make an offer?
I mean, I can ask, I see, because I'm not technically an AP, I don't have that access.
Right,
so
right.
I'd have to ask
does.
somebody who has it. Yes,
right.
I could ask. Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
I can get access to the people who have free lunch.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So maybe you guys should talk and then talk to me.
Okay.
Then.
All
I
right.
mean,
cool. Yeah, we can
Lisa,
do that.
something, we're doing our big budget Zoom next Tuesday. Lisa, are you gonna be able to attend? Would you wanna?
I'm gonna try as hard as I can.
Well, we can, I mean, the point is we can kind of, this can be something we can throw in the
Yeah,
mix about
of course.
how we spend our money.
Yeah.
It's, I know it's come up before. We've talked about dances. I know some of the issues that Mr. Newman shared with us about, the pros and cons of that. And there were pros as well as cons. So let's definitely talk about it next Tuesday, and hopefully you can join us.
Yeah, I hope so. And Miss Massey, I'm gonna
That's
cede
good. Yeah,
my
sure.
time to everybody else, but you and I truly have to get together and delete so much
Oh,
of
yeah.
that
Well, I
backlog
actually
from the
erased some
constant
stuff.
contact.
I erased stuff. I don't know if you noticed, but I my own stuff because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it'll be my gift. My gift to the school will go back and delete from 2015 to 2019. Just delete them. So
I mean, I see about what someone's saying, oh, Camille, about the prom at the school. I mean, I don't know
Not
how
gonna
it would fit because it's, it's about 900 students go. And it's, with the sit down dinner and everything, I don't know if we would need, the only space, it would either be the cafeteria or the gym, really.
And it's not, and I've talked to some of the other APs, Ms. Massey, how are you?
Hi.
And it's unsafe. You've got 18-year-olds that can find every nook and cranny in that school. I don't want to say it's a ridiculous idea, but it's a ridiculous idea. We would be opening ourselves up to so many lawsuits, things that happen in stairwells at parties like that at night. It's just not feasible.
Kim, can I just jump in? I said something in the chat. Listen, Miss Mazzy, if you could make it known, I mean, not send out not COSA, but make it known that if any of these kids have an issue about they want to go to the prom and money's an issue, that let us know and we could do a case by case basis. I mean, I think that's what we've done in our middle school, and people who really need help and really have a desire to go, we help them without opening up the floodgates and everybody wants to come in. So I think you could do that subtly and, very, very delicately. And we certainly would pitch in. And I do know that the school does have funds for kids, but we would certainly, I believe, I would ask the board to help as well if it were necessary.
No, thank you, Vito. And I certainly will. And we've done this a little bit in the past too. Like even Mr. Vet has paid for some kids, who works in the office with me. Even the packages, there are kids, I have a list of kids who can't pay and they're gonna get their stuff, right? I have the list. So, I know exactly what you're saying and I will work on this to get this out to you guys.
I mean, everybody needs a yearbook. Everybody needs the experience. I mean, I think we can probably all agree on that, but let us know what's going on and we can probably figure out a way to help you in some way. If
I
it's
will
not
say-
personal people, but whatever.
Most of the class bought the yearbook. I'm going to tell you, 1,300 kids bought the yearbook. So the 150 that did not, there will be books in the store for them to buy also. If they need, but I have the kids who need it right now. The kids who need it are going to get the book because I have the list, the yearbook. So I don't know if we want to continue with senior stuff because then I don't know but just so the senior parents know, and I hope the letters help. That was an idea that we came up with, and I try to be not rambling on. But so what's happening? And I'll try to be short about this because I know it's a lot with the seniors. But going forward, the Mets game, I'm still pushing this Mets game. I was trying to get it just to be a senior event, but I did have to open the door. Some sophomores are going now, and there is a lot of faculty going. So hopefully more seniors, couple seniors are coming in now. So I'm hoping, to try to get them to go just for the fun of it. And the morning show will be there. And I persuaded the guy because we were a good group to give us those seats. He was going to stick us in the boonies. And I said, please we'll have a couple of, we're big school, put us by the first baseline. So then he did. So I've talked to him. He's pretty okay with extending the deadline too now. So that's upcoming, that game, which is also in June. The prom, as everyone knows, is happening. We just talked about it. We'll work on the finances and the children in need. I'll keep
Do you have a date? for the
The prom is June 3rd is the prom.
June
June
3rd?
3rd, Saturday, June 3rd at the
At the
Chelsea
Chelsea
Piers.
Piers. Got it.
Yes. And so basically the students can wear whatever attire they want. We are following the decor with our theme. So like the executive council and I went there, we picked out the linens and the lights to fit the theme. We have favors that I got very actually cheaply in my neighborhood. If anyone know Joe Mar over here, Joe Mar chocolate was giving out chocolates and he gave me a huge deal, like very cheap, like for the chocolate. So, and they're a good candy store. So they're going to get a Moon and a Star candy favor with their tag. It's all fitting with the theme. So that's the prom is happening. And of course, what else? Before the graduation, senior. So the senior awards, I'm almost finished with the awards that people in the faculty are giving me per department. And per major, the major awards. So those seniors will be invited to the senior awards, which will be back at Gargiulo's on June 21st. It's after school in the evening. It is a dinner. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. That's happening. The senior trip is happening. We had to downsize the trip, but people are going on the trip on May 19th. We have one bus load going. I met with the students yesterday and I've been emailing in a different chain, the parents and the kids about the trip. So we'll be going, that's a weekend trip on May 19th through the 21st. Okay, what else is happening? Oh, so the graduation, of course. So a lot of things with the graduation. This is like a weird situation because the Barclays Center is this like hands-off venue. And I've only been at COSA enough to have 2 senior classes. So the one was in 21 during COVID. And I was at the tennis center, which was my thing that I did and found. And now this class, now Mr. Roseman is really like, he is the one who can only talk to the Barclays Center because I've tried and they will only talk to him. So that's why there's some delay in like finding out some of the information. But the ceremony, like we're booked there, of course, like the ceremony will be there June 26th at 3:30. I have in the morning, the sophomores and the juniors will be helping the student leaders to help set up everything beforehand. And I have a number of faculty that signed up to get prepped for the actual graduation. How this will work is that we have students who are reading the names in each major, which is, I found that very successful in 21. And I felt it was an honor and the names were said better by the students than the faculty. And I've read the names once. And that was the worst job ever. Don't ever like it was the worst job because kids are handing you cards and people were talking to me and they didn't have their card and it was very hard. It was one of the most difficult things. So the students are reading the names and I'm excited because they're very excited about reading the names and they feel it's an honor to read the names. So at the ceremony, what will happen and there'll be more information about how you're getting there. The students will have to arrive earlier than yourselves, the families, a little bit earlier. I will let everyone know, like the Barclays Center is not going to let you linger either. That's another thing. Like the tennis center kind of was like, you could stay as long as you want, but the Barclays, especially after the ceremony, they will be kicking us out. The police will be like, go. So I'm going to direct the students to speak with, and in my letters, like find a meeting place. And if you're either going home or going out for dinner, just kind of shuffle away from the Barclays Center so you don't get yelled at by the police department and the security at the Barclays Center. But we plan to start on time in the ceremony and the kids will come in on Dean Street. They line up downstairs, kind of this basement ramp area. They line up by major. And then once we're ready to go, which will be 3:30, they will march in and sit with their major. We're still designating the students that are sitting on the stage. It has varied now over the years. They used to pack a lot of people on the stage. And then of course in COVID, we had minimal people on the stage. So I'm trying to find out through Mr. Roseman, what's the size of the stage and how many people can sit on the stage. Friday, we're going to know who the valedictorian and the salutatorian is. Mr. Newman and I are meeting with the top 10 who we've met with a few times. And he's going to announce who the valedictorian and the salutatorian are for the class. Now, the tickets, which I know is on everyone's mind. Everyone's waiting. I don't even know what's in the chat. So I'm gonna give you a number for the tickets because we're here, and I don't want you to get mad at me because this is coming from Mr. Roseman, which will be in the next letter. Sorry, I gotta read all this, the chat. I'm sorry, I'm losing the chat. So this is the deal. The Barclays Center is pretty expensive, and the rental of this for the graduation is the floor, kind of where the basketball players are, and the lower bowl, the lower ring. That's what we're renting. And that's what we've been renting, because if you go above that, it's another $100,000 to rent the Barclays Center. It's a whole big thing. They run as a union house and they won't change that. So because the classes get bigger and bigger, this class, if everyone goes, is close to, it's 1583 is in the class. And therefore, right now, the number is 3 tickets. That's the number for the tickets for the graduation, because there's only a certain amount that sit in that ring, is what Mr. Roseman has told me thus far. Now, if it changes, now I have 50, there's 50 messages, oh my God. The graduation is 3 hours on the dot. We go timed 3 hours, because if we go over 5 minutes at the Barclays Center, it's another, I don't know, $50,000, something like that. It's crazy. They charge for everything. So the graduation it was only long last year because of the president. And there was issues. He wasn't even there when we started last year. Like, we were going to start, he wasn't ready. The Secret Service wasn't ready. The graduation usually runs on time because of the Barclays Center. We're used to doing it 3 hours dead on because of that reason.
So 3:30 to 6:30, is that
That's
right?
it. Yep. It won't go over because of the money. Like, the script we have is what Ms. Guevara had made, and this is the script we have. And what I even used in 21, the only addition was adding the kids' names or reading the names, but that's like a split second.
And the 3 tickets are not in addition to the student, right?
No, the students don't need a ticket here. And if they do, it'll be it doesn't include the 3 ticket thing.
Right. Okay, got it.
And the students will be sitting on the floor, on the basketball court, on the floor. If this changes, I will let you know. Everything, even the faculty had to be counted in with the numbers here for everything, who's attending. That's why there was some delay too. I had to ask the faculty who was coming and who wasn't coming. And I told them I needed to know because of the numbers.
Rosalima has a good question in the chat.
Yes.
Do we need COVID vaccine cards?
No more. Nope. No COVID vaccine card.
Okay.
Angels and
I think
Is it going to be live streamed?
Not that I'm aware of. I will find out. I don't think so, but I'll find out.
Because that would be something for, for grandparents that can't come, and because you're unfortunately the one that's going to get all the complaints.
I know that. I understand. I do know.
In 2021, I was in the hospital, and I have to tell you how wonderful that was. I was able to watch Evan graduate. So it does mean a lot to people. So I'm going to throw that pity out there right now.
I will saw because that's an added cost. We have to add it in.
I know.
But it's, you know what, it's that, so this is where at the other venue, which I guess I shouldn't name, that was all included. Like we knew we had to stream, and the other two, I mean, Stuyvesant and Bronx Science were there, as everyone knows, in different days, but we shared the costs of the production stuff. That's how we helped each other in COVID. And so the streaming was part of it. We split that money for 3 schools, but I will find out. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm.
I don't see any other questions about senior issues.
Are there any questions about other grades? Or I could say more about the seniors, but just the last thing maybe for the seniors is there's the distribution of items, and some of the items have already arrived at the school. The yearbooks won't arrive till the end of May, which is normal. And the June 8th is when they will pick up their merchandise. Anyone who purchased the yearbook, and which is most of the class, and the breakfast. Thank you so much, parents. So thank you for helping with that. That will be, so the kids were very excited. They didn't, I had that assembly in school with them and explained verbally, like, this is has not been done before. And Brooklyn Queens Day is going away, which I didn't know that at the time until that day. So I said, you're going to be the only class that maybe has this nice, muffin and a coffee or juice, and you can have, your book signed. Usually they're kicking, school safe, get out of the building. So this will be nice. They can get their stuff and go up to the cafeteria. We're going to have it set up, with the tables and music, and people can relax and have a snack and get their book signed. Yes, Tiffany, I see your hand, Tiffany.
Yes, one of the questions in the chat was, can students volunteer and get club credit for tech events or PA events? And besides the, I know there's certain groups that always come, but just if we had other student volunteers, is that feasible?
I mean, the thing here is, I think Miss Nottingham started this with the club credits, and if you've been doing it, I certainly would accept it. But the club credits means you're in a club working for a certain service in the club. And when you're volunteering is service hours. Those are where it would be the community service hours, that you're helping outside of your time, and you're helping me, or you're helping the PA, you're helping the alumni. And they get
so they can get volunteer credit if
of
they
course
help
they
the
can.
PI.
Sure,
Okay,
of course, yes, absolutely.
thank you.
So thank you, Tiffany. So that was my question. I really just wanted to know, just to elaborate on that. So they can get club credit. So how would they, not club, is it club or volunteer? But how would they get that? Where would they sign up? For example,
So if you had kids volunteering, so wait, you mean how do you get the kids to help you, or do you mean how do they get the volunteer hours?
Right. So like we had, when we had the open house, there were some students there that wanted to help out, but they were told that they weren't on the honor society volunteer list, so they couldn't. So we wanted to know, like, how would they then volunteer and where would they sign up?
Well, so it depends on who I don't know who the students are. What happens a lot of times, whenever there's volunteering and hands-on deck help, that comes through the government. The student government and NHS are the ones who organize all those people. So like when Matt Mandry is doing his New World Vision event or the homecoming, 99% of those kids are government kids and NHS kids who are helping. So if these kids are in an organization like that, or the Key Club or Hope, the big organizations that are helping, they certainly can get the service. They should be entitled to the service. And if they were there helping, they should get the service. I think sometimes the students, take it upon themselves to, we made this list, but if they were there helping, they get the service. So how that would work, if they were working with your office, even if it was a general letter with the list of students, they could submit that online to Wandy and she will submit it. And basically she just needs to know the student's name, their OSIS, the date, and what hours they're working. Like they've worked 4 hours for this event. They worked 7 hours or whatever it is. And she will submit it for them.
So they don't have to necessarily be in those organizations, or do they have to be a part of those groups?
I'm going to say if any kid is out of an organization who wants to help, they should speak to me and I will get them into
Okay.
help. That's the way to do it.
Ms. Massey,
yeah.
I'm sorry, if we've got the gala coming up and we did have a bunch of kids that helped us sell t-shirts for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Accepted students. If we were to present you with a list of hours that they worked, they would be able to get service hours?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Great.
Thank you.
Of course.
There was another kind of question in the chat, but I'm gonna ask it as well, because I know some friends of mine are wondering this. If for some reason, like is there a bank somewhere that someone's going to, mainly you, someone's going to operate? Like if I need 5 tickets and someone only needs 1 ticket, is there going to be like I can give 2 tickets back and maybe I can get an extra ticket? Is there going to be somebody?
Yes, I'm going to work on that system. I mean, there's some parents who, who email me too about divorced parents or separated. I was in that category. My parents are divorced, so I understand 100%.
Right.
What that means.
What about twins? If you have twins, do they get?
They get the ticket. You get the double tickets. So
whoa, they won the lottery.
They won the lottery with these twins. Yep.
Cool. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, I know it's very difficult. We're gonna make it work. I know it's very difficult with the tickets, but we're gonna work it out with the group. the families and the students. We'll figure out how it's going to happen. I'm trying to look at the chat also. If there's anything, what about any other grades? I'm sorry, I'm going on and on about the seniors a little bit, but I'm in charge of the sophomores as well, and can answer questions about either the
Ms.
freshmen.
Massey, could you tell everybody a little bit, because you do such a wonderful job with the fall drama, and let parents know, because I didn't let my daughter do it because I'm one of those paranoid people that, oh my God, she's going to fail out her first year, but you do it's such a wonderful thing. Just maybe a little bit about that.
Of course. I mean, I have been doing the shows at Tech. Before I was a teacher, I was a stage manager. That was my other job before I was a teacher. So I was a real techie because that's what I did, stage managing in theater and in television. So when I came to Tech, Mr. Williams, who hired me, I said right away, he was in English, Mr. Williams, if you know Mr. Williams, hey, Mr. Williams. You know, I'd like to get involved in the arts, and they've got me in. And Debo, if you guys know Debo, he was there, so he kind of inched me in. So the long of the short is that I did the musicals at first because somebody else was doing the plays, and then they were going to get rid of the play. You know, I was doing the musicals for a number of years, and I kept saying, if they get rid of the play, they'll never do the play again. So I convinced them. That's when Eddie, Mr. Velasquez, you know, he was coming in, and I said I would do the play if they were willing, because I didn't want them to get rid of the play. So it's been, you know, it's very hard. When I first came, the musical was, I mean, I came from a small school before Tech, and I was like, whoa, all these people are coming to the show. Like, this is unbelievable. And I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know how, and the plays were not as successful. Like people barely came to the play. And I was like, I don't know how. And they were doing kind of crazy pieces. Like I kept telling my colleagues, like one of them was in English when I was, and I said, well, I think you should do a comedy. But anyway, so that's when I took over the play. I did Lend Me a Tenor. That was the first play I did, and I had to do very big tactics to get people in the seats. They didn't know who I mean, they knew who I was a little bit, but you know, I wasn't a COSA. They didn't know it's not the same dynamic. And so somebody gave me, you're already sitting down, Hamilton tickets, and that got everybody to come to the play. Somebody gave me, they're like, we're gonna give you these tickets. And I raffled them. Everyone came to the play because they didn't know what I was giving out. So this is how the play started and grew, because they gave the students gave the play a chance. And then I've been trying, it's so hard with the play because you try to pick different pieces that are different and, you know, mix it up, and you don't want the kids to be like snoozing, but you want to also do, you know, maybe a piece. I think we're ready for a piece that's like Tennessee Williams now, but you know, and I want to go there, but you know, it's all about trying to pick the right play, but it really, for both sides and the talent show, every aspect, there are kids who need these outlets in the arts, and both behind the scenes and on stage. And, you know, with the play, we just have a good time, and we work. It doesn't matter how great they are, even though we talk about, you know, I bring to the table what I did in my old professional life, but, you know, it's about, you know, the camaraderie and working together and being the teamwork, and the kids just, you know, they just love it. And I love to see that they're like that with each other. And that's the way it is, I think, with the musical. And even the talent show has, you know, some of the kids that are in the talent show may not fit in the musical and the play for whatever reasons. And then they have the talent show for those students who have the fabulous talent that they have. So I love doing the play. It's hard. I mean, honestly, I don't think I could do the musical as a coach, like the way I am as my role as this particular type of COSA. It would be very hard, especially with the senior class. Eddie, I don't know, Eddie is in a rude awakening next year. I'm gonna have to help him because he doesn't realize, like, it's a lot. You know, I'm usually the last to leave the building a lot of times, like me and the custodians. But I did come home today. I am home. But thank you for bringing up the play. It really is.
You do such a great job, and the talent show was just finished. For those of you that don't attend, there's a few parents here who had kids in the show, and we have a talent that rivals LaGuardia. at our school, and we should be very proud. And many of the kids that are at our school got into LaGuardia and chose tech because it's such a great school. And you give them a place, Ms. Massey. And you know, and I still love you, even though you cast my son to be beaten to death on stage a few years ago. And I still love you. for that.
I mean, that poetry, the kids are sending in the poetry on the daily announcements. Like, I'm getting a slew of all this poetry, which I think is great. Like, you know, it's just let someone see your poem, you know.
And everybody, you should check out Tech's YouTube channel, and you can see, you know, the performances and the musical and the play. It's a great, and see what these amazing students at our school do. Thank you, Ms. Massey.
Very talented students.
Thank you.
very
Thank
talented.
you. I believe Tiffany has her hand up. And
Yes, Tiffany, I'm sorry, Tiffany.
Yes, it's okay. I have a question or two. The first one is, I know the play was Clue last year, or this in the fall. I just wanted to ensure that the plays have enough roles for such a large student body. I don't know how many students were cast in Clue, but I remember it being a smaller number.
Well,
So
yes, I mean, the plays are harder with the size. It's not the same as
Yeah.
the musicals. I mean, I did Midsummer and we had a big cast.
Okay.
I did some other shows with big casts. This show, I actually divided the parts, like the cops, like some of the kids that you saw, like the killer chick, that was not a part for her. Like, I had 5 or 6 extra kids in there, and I divided the roles, particularly to give them more parts, the kids. But yes,
Okay.
I do keep that in consideration about the roles. That's why I don't really do like 3-person or 2-person plays or anything like that, because of that reason. I try to look for at least somewhat of a decent sized cast, but unfortunately the plays just don't compete with the musicals. Like, you know,
Yeah.
with an ensemble, I try to put people in where I can, for sure. But what I also do, I do use students for the tech side. So like, students design the playbill. One girl designed all the costumes this year. And I've been doing this consistently with the kids on both sides to try to give as much out there. I had that playbill challenge, which I tried to get more kids. That it was only a few, because I was kind of piggybacking off Mr. Trombetta with the artwork at the concerts. So it was only a few kids, but next year I'll do it earlier, and so that, you know, we can have more kids involved. I try to get as many kids involved as possible.
Okay, and I had one more question.
Yes.
Is there any way that we can bring Sing back to the school, or?
Well, Sing, I know that there's been conversations about Sing. I was in Sing in my school back in the old when I went to Midwood High School. But with Sing, I think that is, you need an advisor for it. And you need 3 advisors, right? Depending on if you're gonna use all 4 grades. And I think they're worried that where would the play, well, not so much the play, like I would shift to Sing. It's more about the musical. I think I don't know if they would get rid of the musical to do Sing. I'm not sure.
I think the musical replaced Sing.
Well, that's why that's an issue for some people.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue. I mean, I think, I know many years ago they did Sing at Tech, like, again, Mr. V went to Tech,
Right.
and Sing at his class.
Right.
I do know
I
that
was a student at Tech, and I did Sing,
Oh,
and
there
that's
you
why
go.
I've been telling him, can we please bring it back?
I mean, I don't know, I haven't been in all the conversations, to be honest with you, because I guess whatever reasons, but I know part of it is about who is going to oversee that on top of their regular job, because it is a huge commitment. And I hate to say this, and I'm sorry to have to say, I'm gonna just say it, like, there's only the same faculty members who stay after school and help the children. And, you know, it's the same people, like Miss Ramona with 6 clubs, because she's working in the step team. Like, so you need that commitment. And if it's like Mr. V and I, it would be hard, maybe on top of the COSA job, which, you know, depending on when the Sing was, you know, that's kind of like, but I like the idea of Sing too. I think we could keep this in the loop and maybe discussions about Sing.
It may be obvious, but what is Sing?
Sing Sing is when the kids, this is around, I guess, think our nation actually, many schools that the kids write the piece. They write the kids do everything. They're writing the
They
music.
produce it.
They produce everything. They do the scenery. They write the scripts. They have to make everything.
The songs, the
costumes,
dances.
yes, and everything has to be original. Or they do like takeoffs, but the lyrics and stuff have to be their own, that kind of thing. And then the grades compete against each other with a panel of judges, basically. If that
It's
remembers-
usually freshmen paired with sophomores
Yes.
versus the juniors versus the seniors.
Yes.
And the staff votes on it. But I think at least at Tech, it was one of the biggest ways to show Tech pride. It was a very big event. And I know the other specialized high schools still do it.
Well, maybe we reach out to them on top of their other stuff. Like, do they do other shows, the other schools? Like what school, Stuyvesant? Do they do plays and stuff?
Sty does it, Bronx Sci.
Do they do musicals and plays?
I don't know. I'll find out.
Because that, I think, is a factor. If they don't do the musicals and the plays and the talent show, they might just do sing. Yeah, but it's worth investigating, I think.
Yeah, Tiffany, if you want to pair with her going forward to look into it, that'd be great. Because I was unaware of Sing as well. So, any other questions for Ms. Massey other than great boatloads of appreciation?
Well,
for
thank you. I see in the chat, and thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah,
I do appreciate it. It's hard, but I don't have all the answers all the times, but I'll try to find out the answers if I can.
And you're a huge asset. Oh, wait a minute, Vito has his hand up.
No,
Yes,
just
sir.
a question, Ms. Massey, are there any other spaces that are not this big? I know the auditorium, correct me if I'm wrong, is that thing booked like a year in advance? Like every single year, the auditorium? I mean, are there any other spaces where we could do like, instead of like deciding between Sing and other things, like have a smaller venue where all we need is a teacher to kind of like just oversee it, but the kids could do something extra? Is that something that might be possible?
The only bigger spaces are the CAF and the gyms. And the gyms are, Ruben is willing to work with people, but they won't go against like the sporting event games or whatever.
So the library too, right?
Well, the library, I think for Sing might be a little small, I gotta say, but I haven't done Sing.
Couldn't you do like a cabaret kind of thing in the library, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I mean, if it's a little smaller than that.
And then live stream it. Yeah, I don't know.
What happens is, Vito, to answer your question, we do have meetings about like the spaces, and then it's very competitive. Like groups who want the space, and clubs like the Key Club or NHS that has like 500 members or so. They need the auditorium to have a meeting, and so like these things are scheduled in, and then like the APs are going to be now in the auditorium, and guess what? There's nothing going to be in the auditorium because the APs will be in there now for May.
Yeah. See, we've been here too long because I know all of the constraints that you guys are working under. That's why I'm thinking, just trying to see if I don't know, man. I think maybe the library might work for cabaret performances. I don't know.
Well, cabaret performances, I think it would work. Yes, I do.
If that's something we want to do, I don't know. But anyway, I'll give you more work. Sorry.
Well,
We'll
more
work
to
together. We'll work
come.
together. Yes, Hamilton, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say more to come. That watch out, LaGuardia kids. We're coming through. Any last questions for Ms. Massey? Or are we?
Yes, I do.
Hi, Sharon.
Yeah, hi. Okay. Miss Casey, there's a 2027 parent ask, like for the incoming freshman student, like when should they start the community service? Like right now or summer or right after they start the school?
Oh boy. Okay. Wow, that's great. They're thinking of it. I mean, if they can do it, if they do it in the summer, they would save the letter and submit it in the fall.
Okay.
But they can do that since they're coming into the school. And then, they can start whenever they want. I think with the service, if they do it over time, depending on scheduling and all these things that the kids are doing, they do so much. I don't know how they make it, but they do so many things, like multiple activities and, volunteering. But yeah, they can do it over time.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
I mean, the idea with the clubs too, by the way, speaking of this, Sharon, is that if a student stays in one club, in theory, over the course of 4 years, they would get their club credit. But the kids don't usually do that because they want to join, like multiple things.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Any follow-up questions? Any last minute volleys? Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Massey. This
Well,
was,
thank you guys so very much. I can't thank you enough for having me. And please
I
email
would-
me if you have any questions. I will answer as best I can, or send you two who can answer the question. And please know that, sometimes I try to email right away, but if it's a little delayed, I apologize in advance, but I try to stay on top of it.
well, I was in awe before, but now I'm like even more in awe knowing the reach you have throughout our community, and we're so incredibly grateful. And thank you for joining us this evening.
Well, I gotta just say, my sister now has two small kids. They're younger, but I see that, she tries to get in touch with people and people don't respond. And I'm in a position like, I feel bad. Like, how do you not respond to somebody? At least let them know you're responding to say something. So that's, I feel like that needs to be done, because you guys have children and you want to know what's going on and you're concerned and you have questions. So.
But with a school this size, it's extra inspiring to see someone do it and do it so well. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys.
And thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you all very much.
All
Thank you so
right.
much for having me.
Thank you.
Good night, Ms. Massey.
Good night. Thank you, everyone.
So, Mary Hune, do you have anything to ask? I know you didn't want to be called on, but I'm calling on you.
Not really.
I like your. I like your.
I love you all. I don't have anything to say. I
Okay.
don't have anything to report. I can't beat Miss Massey there. So
No, she covered the entire field.
yeah, I can't follow Miss Massey.
Any Mia, do you have anything or any other new business or?
Yeah, so last but not least, I just wanted to thank the volunteers yesterday who, parents volunteers for helping with the setup for the college fair. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was enormously helpful. And I guess that concludes our April Zoom. We're going to be doing our next meeting, which will be elections meeting in person again, probably in the library. And we have a date, Mary, right?
Yeah.
I blanked on the date.
25th,
I think it's the 19th.
19th.
I
I have the
can tell you
25th.
right. I think the 25th.
I have the
Right.
25th.
You mean
25th
the
sounds
PA
right.
meeting?
It's the
PA
25th.
meeting is
Thursday, the
May
25th.
25th.
Yeah, it's on the newsletter. I mean, it's on TikTok.
Yeah,
everywhere.
no, I totally spaced on it. When you said 25th.
So Hamilton, just a reminder, that will not be a blended meeting in the sense that you can't participate from home, but I'll do my best. We'll work together to stream it.
Sounds good.
And everyone should come because it's the election.
Everyone
Yes.
should come.
Yes,
You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta come to vote.
that's
And if
correct.
there's
So
any-
Leslie's asking what positions are available.
What
I think
positions?
all.
Everything.
Rachel said, do we have anyone for communications?
I think we are, I think technically all our positions are open, right? So that
Yes.
everyone runs again, you can run either individually or as a ticket. And we have some in place. You'll be hearing more about it. But I would encourage anyone who wants to get involved in any positions, we can circulate that with this week's Tech Talk, just sort of itemizing which positions are open, which technically all of them are. If you've served and want to serve again, obviously, we would love to have you back. A few of us are rotating off the board, including myself, Ellen, Lisa, others.
Rachel.
Rachel. No, Rachel's daughter's a junior, right?
Oh, good. Rachel.
Sophomore.
Woohoo.
So anyway, there are a few of us whose students are graduating. So, but more to come on that front. And again, May 25th is the date. Thank you.
And we need to know who's running in advance of May 25th.
Right. And we have it's like 2 weeks in advance, is that right?
I think it's 10 days, but I can check.
Yeah, we could check the bylaws. For some reason, I had 2 weeks in my mind, but.
It's
Maybe
not
it
in the
is.
bylaws. It's up to you guys in the nominating committee.
Oh,
So, I mean,
okay.
So why don't we say May 19th? That gives you guys time to print everything and stuff as a suggestion. You wanna, when you send out the thing, you might say everything has to be in by May 19th.
May 19th
So
sound.
no nominations from the floor.
No nominations.
No
Floor.
nominations.
Okay.
And thanks to Kim for reaching out to Marzena, who will once again lend her expert hand in helping us with the elections. She and I connected through Kim, so we're very grateful for that. Huh.
And Ramona Richardson, who's heads our, I think it used to be called Spark. I'm not sure what it's called now. Program will be our guest at the next meeting after the election,
Great for the June meeting.
for the May meeting.
Oh, so we'll do the elections and then have her. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that too much?
No, it's great because they have to tally the votes.
The count.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no.
great. Perfect.
Perfect.
That'll
Good.
work out really, really well. So,
Yeah.
all
Okay,
right.
great.
Phew. Thank you so much for coming this evening and contributing to a lively discussion, both chat wise and otherwise. And we will be in touch and may I have a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks to everyone and more to come and have a good rest of the week.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.